Minecraft is my comfort game, the thing I go to play when I just want to feel like a kid again. But you know what else would make me feel like a kid? Playing Pokemon. The first Pokemon Blue is the first game that I 100% completed, and that series has always had a fond place in my heart. So when the founders of AnubisMC reached out to me to see if I wanted to do 100 days on their Pixelmon server, you know what? It felt kind of right. With the Pixelmon Reforged mod pack, you're able to combine the best of both franchises and play on several different worlds. I'm playing at the link that you can find it down in the description on the Oasis realm, building my own desert oasis you can visit by using Warp Legundo on that server. But before you go and play on there, why not grab some popcorn and sit down for the story of how I spent 100 days building a perfect oasis in Minecraft Pixelmon. And you know how in the song they say, it's you and me? I need your help. Only about 10% of you are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed and you got this video and recommend it or you really like it, why not subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss other 100 days challenges like this, as well as some other Minecraft content. It's our destiny to conquer everything and be the very best like no one ever was. And I want to hit 500,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I need your help. And while you're down there, why not leave a comment like, I can't believe what you did on day 21, or I never expected what was about to happen on day 70. Don't worry, that will make sense later. I logged into the server for the first time and was given my choice of many different starters. Since I'm going for full nostalgia on this one, I went back all the way to Silver and grabbed Cyndaquil, my favorite fiery boy. Once I was in the spawn, I checked out a little bit of my starting gear, and since I had Pokeballs and some basic tools already, I randomly warped out into the world and immediately started collecting resources. It's a Minecraft video, but it's also a Pokemon video, so I both punched a bunch of trees to get wood and other supplies, and then got into my first Pixelmon fight against a Numel, and thankfully I was able to kill it. I'm 100% success rate. I should retire right now. But as the sun set and it transitioned into day 2, it was time to start looking around for where I was actually going to base out of for this 100 days. The desert was potentially interesting, but I wanted to make sure I was close to water so I'd be able to encounter a couple different types of Pokemon, all from the safety of my home. Gathering up and loot goblining my way through a jungle temple to find just a little bit of resources in one of the chests. Not wanting to build in the jungle itself, I want to do something different in each of these videos. As I was jumping from treasure Pokeball to treasure Pokeball, I found one on this little deserted island just on the side of the ocean right next to the jungle, and I thought, Oasis. Alright, I have an idea for what I'm going to build for this base. So on day 3, I started putting down roots and claimed the land around my chests to make sure everything was protected. This random creepy guy who doesn't blink stood and asked me to show him a fishing rod, which I didn't have. So, alright, you're just gonna watch me build a house instead, buddy. I spent a chunk of the next day fighting to get Cyndaquil a lot stronger until they passed out from all of the fighting, and started digging a mine down to get some better tools and resources. Looking for diamonds here. What I found though was an extremely safe and perfectly normal ravine just under my base, and I never bothered making stairs, just jumping my way in and mining a bunch of iron. Day 5, as I'm being rained on from above, I tried to make sure to get a basic frame of the house all set up, with a couple different block variations and making a staircase down to the lower levels. But it was time to capture some Pokemon as well and start expanding out my team. This Shelder appeared on my island, and you know what? Water, fire, that's 2 out of the 3. So I made sure to grab it, and now I had twice as many Pokemon as I had a little bit before. After heading to the spawn to heal everybody, I randomly teleported and found my way into a spruce forest, gathering just a bunch of logs and using both of my Pokemon to beat up everybody else that I could find. I started capturing everyone that I could and found a blue corefish, which is really rare, so I was able to grab that as well. On day 7, it was still raining in this world as I continued building up a little bit more of my shelter, going with a very jungle and open air theme as a kind of beachside oasis cabana. I'm leaning into the beach theme for this one. I want it to feel like a vacation home. Once I had a bit of a roof, I broke all the chests and transferred everything inside, and I was finally standing dry, realizing that I could have just walked over into the desert like 20 blocks away and not been rained on this whole time, but that doesn't put me on the beach, so I stuck with it. The next day, I jumped in a boat and started sailing around to see what else was here, and I found this abandoned hotel or haunted tower or something like that, but they had a bunch of blocks and no one was there to stop me, so I took all of grabbing a bunch of items out of the chests and finding these really cool banners and knocking out their roof and grabbing a bunch of quartz. It was so nice for somebody to leave all these blocks here for me to use one day. On day 9, I found Team Rocket's submarine, and after checking the glove compartment for license and registration, I found nothing, so I started disassembling it, stealing their fridge, their dishwasher, and even their coffee mugs. There's a lot of cool cosmetic items that really nail the beach vibe, including these floaties, and with the banners, it's really starting to look like a getaway. That night, I jumped back into the boat and found a floating barge restaurant thing, and you know, they weren't using their chairs at all, so I grabbed everything that I could here and took it back towards the base. On day 10, I went back to the spawn to heal my Pokemon, and then it was time for some shopping! Grabbing a bunch of blocks that I could use to make my base look that much cooler, as well as a few healing items from my Pokemon. I spent a lot of the day using all of my different Pokemon to fight anything that was in or around my base, while collecting a few additional things like jungle trees or sand, just to get everybody a little bit better leveled up. Before planting a few of these weird colored acorns that I had found all around the land before deciding to settle here. Potentially they're gonna grow into something useful, but I don't know yet. Day 11, I was back on the server and in the spawn, healing up my Pokemon at the center and stopping at all of the Pokestops, which is a place where you can get random items once per day. I randomly teleported to a plains biome and mainly used this as an opportunity to fight Pokemon of different types, capturing an Electrike, and then finding my way into a village, which has its own Pokemon center, which has a chest, which has loot in it, which is now mine. It was so nice of these villagers to abandon the village and leave all of this wheat and potatoes here for me. And then I found a second Pokemon center that had even more loot that had my name on it, and you can't tell me otherwise. Day 12, I did a little bit more shopping and realized I should really have my own healing station, so I purchased one and set it up in the base. Now I don't have to go back to spawn. I can, and I do often, but I don't have to. And then I spent the rest of the day down in the caves mining, looking for coal and rubies and diamonds and all sorts of other resources. I saw this message of the mine being reset, and it's like, ooh, okay, let's go check this out, and teleported to a place that had all of the diamonds I could ever want. I'm serious, this is no longer a Pixelmon Let's Play. This is a how many diamonds can I get in 100 days waiting for this place to reset constantly Let's Play. I spent all of day 13 just being a little cave goblin and getting everything that I could ever want. All of the shinies in my pockets. Day 14, I started the day by sorting all of that into the chests and making myself a set of diamond tools. Now the starter tools you get have good enchants on them, but diamonds are just really there for the flex. I realized I could teleport to the end, but there was no dragon, obviously, which means no elytra for me, and I'm gonna have to stick to the ground here, or I'm gonna have to get the HM fly. But if I want to make my tools any better, I gotta start work on an enchanting room, and I started building one underneath the base, still inside the claimed space, but just kind of hidden away behind a door. On day 15, I took another random teleport, landing in the Ice Mountains and finding a Poke Center that someone had looted and stolen all of the blocks. Who would do that? Before finding all sorts of different bases and fighting all of the ice types. That was enough to get Cyndaquil to evolve into Quilava, and Quilava can be ridden despite all the fire on its back, and they're super fast. They are ludicrous, better than Tesla fast, and I love zooming around the world with them. Day 16, I continued battling all of the ice types until my Pokemon were really starting to run out of energy and took them back to the spawn to heal. Did a little bit more shopping to get a few of the blocks that I would need, and saw a warp and an invite to go visit another player town. I was immediately trapped on this endless conveyor belt circle whirl and had to jump my way off. Thankfully, not getting hurt, but still feeling really nauseous because I'm pretty sure I was hallucinating this Whismer's textures. On day 17, I was declared the very best, which means this playthrough is totally over. Okay, just kidding, but I fought a trainer that I had encountered in the world and was able to clean them up and obliterate them pretty easily. Went back to the island and harvested all of my acorns and started storing things in the fridge because that's where food goes, before putting up a map to be able to keep track of my accomplishments as I continue to build out the island. So on day 18, I forgot to start recording. I hope you'll leave it alone. I'm trying to branch out with my commentary style a little bit here, and I made some small mistakes. No birching in the comments, please. They're all bark and no bite. I'm trying to put down some roots for the base while continuing work in harvesting all of the jungle logs that I could, which continued into day 19, harvesting a lot of different leaves with shears to be able to make some custom trees in and around the island to really give this place a kind of special touch. I never actually made custom trees before working on this project, so I'm not sure if they're good or not, but they definitely feel unique and nothing like vanilla Minecraft generation, so I'm pretty proud of them. On day 20, since I don't have 1.13 swimming, the getting over the water to get into and out of my island is kind of monotonous. So let's start building a bridge, and I used all of the jungle logs that I had just gathered, building up the first half of the structure. I was able to fight and capture this Flaffy, I have a thing for pink sheep apparently, while continuing to build the bridge throughout the entirety of the day. Day 21, we're still bridge building. This takes a lot of wood and resources, and I had to terraform on the other end a little bit, working on my custom trees and continuing to improve them with some vines that I grabbed from the side of a tree in the jungle. Flaffy is able to take out Pokemon twice her level with a good type advantage, so my team is definitely starting to feel pretty strong, but this Slowpoke arrived on my island, and no, we're not going to talk about that. Scared of the giant blue monster, I teleported to another biome and found my way to a base that I could actually use the enchanting table, but I didn't have the levels, so I just kind of took it. A few seconds after that, my internet disconnected, like entirely shut down, and you know what? That's probably a bad sign. Day 22. I returned to the enchanting table. I don't want to anger whatever internet gods I had just upset. In continuing to walk around the island, I found my way to a base where the owner was not super friendly, so I killed a Pokemon and left its corpse at their door. That'll send a message of some kind. I continued running around and battling and even evolving some of my Pokemon, getting my team up towards level 30, which is the first gym level. On day 23, I was still randomly teleporting around, getting all of the blocks that I could from different locations, and once again the mines reset, and I went mining again. This time primarily though, not to gather the shinies for myself, but instead sell them to be able to get a little bit more money so I could be able to purchase some additional blocks from the stores. Walked out here with 17,000 in my pocket, which makes me feel pretty good. On day 26, I remembered that the battle pass was a thing and unlocked a few high-level Pokemon as well as a shiny crate key, walking away with a shiny Honchkrow, who I just call Fedora Bird. Thinking that I had some cool Pokemon, I walked into the Pokemon Center to heal them and looked to the right, and people were fighting with literal gods in the lobby, so I still have some growing to do before I'm ready to take on other players. But thankfully, I can jump on my bird's back and fly around, exploring the really cool spawn, and we're not going to talk about what happened right there, we're just going to pretend it didn't happen. Day 27, with my team recently just buffed up from all of these new Pokemon, it's time to start taking on the gyms to become the very best. First up was the Fairy Gym. Now this caps your Pokemon's level at 20, which means if you have anything higher, it levels down, but anything lower doesn't level up. This is to avoid people from just stomping the whole thing without any sort of warning. However, my Fedora Bird was actually a really good type matching for this, and I was able to get my way to the boss in a single pass. Challenging them to a battle, it was pretty interesting. They had a keychain first, which I was able to mainly kill with fire, and then a Sylveon, which was the most dangerous thing that I had to fight as of yet. It could heal itself extensively, which means it was impossible for my team to wear them out, and I was eventually worn down and lost my first battle on this server. Alright, I get why you're the leader. Don't worry, I'll be back. I ended the day hitting up all of the Pokestops, logging off, and planning my next move. And my next move was going back to the mines to really just get myself up to level 30 so I can enchant my tools and get the best enchants on my pickaxe. Fortune would be a really great way to get a lot more money, so I'm just mining out anything that gives me experience. Once I hit level 30, I teleported back to the birch forest and just used the enchanting table, being judged by this rat right here. I'm guessing they saw what I had done before returning back home on day 29 and seeing a level 40 trainer here, which I thought could be a great way to prepare for the gym leader fight. Now this doesn't level scale my Pokemon, so with my more powerful team, I was able to really take this person out in about 6 rounds altogether, and I don't think I lost a single Pokemon, which makes me feel confident. So I harvested all of the acorns and then harvested some logs to continue building on the base and getting the bridge all set up and together so I'd be able to get into and out of the desert quickly before returning to the gym on day 30 to go at it again. Now at this point the cooldowns had reset, so all of the trainers in the way also needed to be battled again, which was good for some last minute experience to level up my team all the way and prepare myself for the final battle. I had prepared and done my research on fairy type matching and was sending out my team in the correct order this time to make sure I'd have every advantage in my favor. And with just a little bit of additional knowledge, I was able to take out Sylveon, and I thought that was it, but no, they had one additional Pokemon that I never even saw the first time around. Switching out for a Togetic, which I just had to burst down as quickly as possible. And then guess what? They had another with a Kirlia that I was also just able to flame charge down with Quilava, just trying to burst it down before it could actually do any damage. And with my trusted Pokemon at my side, I won my first gym badge. Riding off of the high of my first badge being collected, I took some of the birch wood that I had acquired and finished up the enchanting room, as well as planted some fences on the bridge to give it a much more different variated style, with some leaves hanging off on the side because I want this to be an oasis, a very natural looking kind of space. I purchased a bunch more blocks from the shops, including glowstone and redstone, so I could make redstone lanterns, as well as daylight centers to really light up the bridge, but only when it's appropriate to do so. Dynamic elements are going to make this look that much better. Day 33, I randomly warped out to another location, found another Pokemon Center, and just recovered. It's called salvaging, okay? I found some items that needed a new home. I also found a level 56 Pokemon just wandering out here in the middle of nowhere, since I had a bunch of Master Balls from the Battle Pass that I had just been given, but I spent most of day 33 power leveling my Pokemon until wandering into an abandoned mineshaft, because it's still a Minecraft video from me, and finding a diamond and a couple other useful things in the chest there while fighting ghosts underground, you know, as you do. On day 34, I purchased an ender chest to be able to store off a few items safely, and then got all of the daylight sensors in place so that the bridge would be all set up with dynamic lighting elements. I finished up the map of the space, which is mostly ocean, but I kinda just needed it there, and then used a bunch of the mail items that I had acquired over the past few weeks to just have some shenanigans at spawn, telling people to come join on the channel. Someone mentioned a mega boss which had been spawned out in the world, and it is this golden Garchomp, which absolutely obliterated me with no more than a breath. But as I was running away from Godzilla, I saw this portal floating in the middle of the sky and blocked my way in, entering the Shadow Realm on day 35, and bouncing around in low gravity amongst other structures, all just kind of jumbled together. There's floating islands and fortresses and Poké Centers and a ghost tower with all sorts of aggressive Pokemon. The first time I was attacked by a random one just wandering around. I found a Dawnstone at the top of this tower, which I had to run away from several times with all of the Pokemon killing everything I had, while using the low gravity to bounce from massive island to massive island. On day 36, I missed my jump and fell back into the normal world, warping back to my base, stashing some stuff in the ender chest before harvesting some more jungle logs throughout most of the day. The lights are starting to look really good when I saw another portal to the Shadow Realm right there. I went over to try to pillar up to it, but it unfortunately disappeared. Day 37, I'm tweaking my team to attack the second gym and visited the move relearner to make sure my Pokemon had the best moves for that matchup. The normal gym is the second one, which fighting moves would be great here, but not everything is as easy when it comes to fighting these more generic Pokemon. Most of them have a secondary type matching, which is what I'm actually trying to fight against. Took most of the day into day 38 to complete most of this gym, and while I was healing my Pokemon, I was recognized in public, kind of, for the first time. I asked if they wanted to say anything to YouTube, and they were good. But then somebody else tried to rickroll me, so we cut that off right away. As it rolled over into day 39, somebody invited me to teleport to their base. And you know what? Why not? They have a pretty cool base set up, and in checking the rules, I saw no flexing. Well, I'm not going to fit in here at all. There's an active hunt for a Drillbur going on, and I found one buried in the basement of their Pokemon Center. I probably should have asked more questions, to be honest, but just killed it to get the reward. They thanked me for that by sending me a Garchomp, which was pretty overpowered, to be honest. orbs. I tried to repay in diamonds, and they handed me a bunch of orbs with experience in them as well, which I have no idea how to use, but that's kind of cool. Using my new Pokemon, I was able to basically one-shot the entire normal gym, getting my way up to the first boss with all of the moves I had taught my Pokemon in preparation for this fight already, in addition to the Pokemon I was just given, which was absolutely OP. I was able to one-shot this entire gym, which is an amazing feeling. Just going in and busting the doors down and saying, "Give me your badges." That felt good. You know what doesn't feel good? Accidentally recording the wrong screen. So on day 40, while I was watching some Critical Role and the Forge Labs 100 Days in Skyrim VR, I did some random stuff around the base, mainly collected sand and jungle trees, but you don't get to see any of that because I'm a professional YouTuber and I still record the wrong screen sometimes. But go check out those videos, they're both awesome. Day 41, I reset my recording and then took some of those males back to spawn to do a little bit more of my random around the hub shenanigans. I made a few friends, it seemed to be working, and I ran downstairs in the Poke Center to clean out a fossil, which actually takes quite a bit of time. So I went a little stir crazy running on these pressure plates and the boat, grabbing my new Pokemon and then putting them in PC, and I'm pretty sure never taking them out. They never got to see the light of day ever again. I'm the worst pet owner ever. I was gonna end the day running around in the ice plains bullying random Pokemon on Quilava's back when somebody just randomly sent me a Ho-Oh and a shiny Registeel. I got back to my base on day 42 and checked out my new Pokemon, and I don't know what to do in this moment. I can't just send them back. This looks really cool. So I was fighting some random Pokemon around my base when that person wanted to warp here and visited my spot. They had armor that can make them fly, and then they handed me a Zacian as well because I have no idea what to do anymore. But as I finished up the map, they're like, "Want battle?" And then, yeah, their first thing was called God Dragon, and it obliterated my team, including the Pokemon that they had just sent me. Now I understand why they had some spares that they could just give to me. They killed me with God. I spent a little bit of time harvesting all of the apricorns and building out the smeltery, as well as starting marking out where I want the remainder of the beach resort to go. I want to set up several cabanas that people will be able to stay at and be able to kind of rent out, so you can have different couches and Poke Centers and healing stations all set up so everybody can come here as a place to rest and relax. I need to fix a lot of the cursed sand and then started setting up some rudimentary pathways with the foundations marked out. As it rolled over into day 45, I was buying more items from the shop to be able to fast track my way to be able to actually complete all of these builds. I got a fossil from the daily login Pokestop and went back to the room of craziness and boats, jumping around manically while I got yet another fossilized Pokemon, while I continued on the foundations and building up all of the logs to get all of the cabanas set up. They're going to be different sizes and all decorated differently, but one thing they're not going to have is wild Pokemon wandering around, and I used my new super high level monsters to just take everything out that didn't have a pass. I went back to the base for some decorations, mainly beach umbrellas and beach chairs and other things along those lines, planting them and sitting on the beach enjoying the view. Enjoying the view with the exception of that hotel. I should really like burn that down or blow it up or something. Day 46, I was setting up just an additional bit of pathing and detailing all around the base, making sure that everything was looking a little bit more lived in and constructed when I saw a random NPC sitting around here, and with my new team was able to again obliterate them pretty quickly. I one-shot every Pokemon that they had. While I continued to set up these different banners, I want to kind of give that idea of those big fabric linen canopies that you sometimes see at big beach resorts, just something to give a little bit of shade. Since Minecraft can't really do that, I use the banners on all of the sides to give it a little bit more character, as well as set up a bunch of stairs so you don't have to jump around on the sand while you're walking around this space. Moving the torches up off the ground just to make them look a little fancier. On day 47 from the battle pass, I got a custom texture key, which I went over and collected a sundered war turtle, which looks like a war turtle, but very much on fire, before flying back over to that abandoned hotel to collect some more banners so I could have more of the same pattern around my base. Remember, it's reclaiming. As I placed everything, it's really fitting the vibe of the beach resort that I want to work with. I bought a ton of iron so I can make an anvil and start naming and combining a few things, while working on another set of custom trees to be able to really expand the area that I can call custom built. It's starting to go into the desert biome though, so these might be the last ones because the rest are going to look kind of yucky. On day 49, I was building the roofs for all of the cabanas out of tons of jungle slab, going with the same open air design and just slanting it from front to back with fences along all of the walls. walls. I found a level 140 Houndoom just hanging out around my base, and despite how OP my team looks, they were still able to take me out. So I focused the rest of the day just making sure all of the cabanas got built. As we approached the halfway point of the entire campaign, it was time for me to take on my third gym. Right after the first battle on day 50, as I was starting to work my way through, I didn't even realize Quilava was up for evolution, and he evolved into Typhlosion, which is awesome. I have my max tier starter Pokemon right now. A lot of the Pokemon in the state were both bug and flying, so Typhlosion was able to do a lot of damage with its fire-based attacks to really clear out a lot of the way as I got my way to the boss. Now, the boss is so much better than all of the trainers in each of these gyms, so usually it takes me 2 fights in order to really have a shot against them. One, to just learn what their Pokemon are and in what order they're normally coming out, and then 2, to just actually do the execution. I had an audience for this fight though, and right after I lost, they threw me a ton of Master Balls, which, okay. And then they used Mewtwo to complete the gym, so they were pretty well set up. The person who had set me up with that Garachomp asked if they needed acorns, and I heard the call, sending out all of the acorns that I had been collecting for the last 50 days. If nothing else, it was a good way to say thank you. Day 51, we're over the halfway point now, and I celebrated by making the thing I said just a few minutes ago a lie and starting on more custom trees deeper into the desert. The leaves look a little in the desert biome, but in all honesty, it's really starting to come together. Working on small details for all of the cabanas and doing some leveling with my Pokemon before going to take on the flying gym again. Big ups here from all of the Pokemon that I had collected to be able to work my way through for good type matching. This time, Registeel was my first one out, and I was able to tank a lot of the early damage while waiting for the later, somewhat squishier Pokemon to be able to take down with Garachomp, Ho-Oh, and Typhlosion. With that little bit of extra preparation, planning, and knowledge, the flying gym fell out of the sky, and I collected my third gym badge. And I handled this victory with complete grace and honesty, totally not disrespecting the gym leader, before warping back home and putting some rare candies that I had gotten from the battle pass to use to level up Typhlosion to get them ready for the next gym right away. Day 53, this was a day that I was actually streaming this 100 days playthrough. I normally do this at least once for each of them, so come follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Legundo. In fact, I'm probably live right now while you're watching this video. I spent a good chunk of the time flexing with all of my Pokemon and then sending some spare items out to everybody to get them set up. Tasking everyone in the chat to capture the most appropriate and on-brand Pokemon for them while I did a little bit more work on all of my custom trees. We're totally not a cult, I swear, as we just randomly circle around people in the hub and had a lot of fun. It was chaos, but it was fun chaos. But while everybody was off on their capturing mission, it was my turn to take on the fire gym. The now Blastoise that I had gotten from that Sundered Crate Key was the big MVP of this area, but Typhlosion was also able to tank a lot of hits, being a fire type and having some non-fire type moves to be able to push things through. Garachomp with Bulldoze was another way to get a lot of good damage on everything, and I fought my way through all of the levels, making my way to the boss. Now this is the first time that I had made my way through to this gym, and so far 2 I had failed on this and 1 I had succeeded. But my team was generally in a really good spot for a battle against fire type Pokemon, so this was the gym that I was most confident on first try. I saved Zacian until later, using Sacred Sword to take down their Arcanine, for Ho-Oh was able to take out a couple before getting knocked out themselves. It got down to the point where both of our Pokemon were down to just 1 hit's worth of health left, and I was running the numbers in my head, and since I was live, you can actually hear that in real time. It's literally gonna come down to speed. If I hit first, I'm gonna win. If they hit first, they're gonna win. I don't know which one of these Pokemon is faster. They have a whole nother Pokemon! No! Oh, I got so excited. Hey, never mind! Yay! The roller coaster of that. That was way too close for comfort, but I put the badge onto my chest, realizing I could wear them now, and stood in the Poke Center flexing a little bit. As it rolled over into day 55, I saw a lot of people with all of their god Pokemon that they had captured, either shinies or extremely rare ones, just flying around the hub. There was a portal to the Shadow Realm close by my base, but when I towered up to go find it, it vanished, so must have been a mirage at this oasis, and then just basically beat up a bunch of Pokemon around my house. Nobody gets to live at the resort without having made a reservation. I bought a few couches for all of the cabanas, getting them all set up and a little bit more guest worthy, and some fences to close everything out when somebody said they needed dark oak. So again, I was just the dark oak fairy, dropping items off and disappearing in a flash. On day 56, I once again made my way into the Shadow Realm, finding some really creepy NPCs just standing around and staring at me. I can't tell you how unnerving it is to hear this little bit of background music and then having somebody with a little bit too big of a smile turn around and face you in a door. I flew around on Ho-Oh's back so I wouldn't fall out of this space at all, fighting a few flying types before making my way into a pretty large end city. And let me tell you, clearing this space is way easier with low gravity and no shoulders firing at you. The loot at the top was pretty great armor and some good items, but the thing I really wanted was inside that ship, an elytra for my back. I might not have rockets, and I can still fly on Godbird, but I just wanted my wings. But the time for the judging of the Pokemon contest was almost here, so I warped back to spawn and did something creative with a set of cursive binding pants. Okay. Yay, cool. Yep, they have cursive binding on them. Good luck with that. After that, I took all of my shulkers back to base and did some organization while we prepared for the contest. While that was just finishing up throughout all of day 59, I did some wonder trading, sending some Pokemon off into the ether to their new home. Trading in the shiny Registeel for a shiny Crobat, which just, oh, it's so perfect. And then I decided to become Mr. Beast, grabbing a few refrigerators and randomly giving them out to all of the cabanas, as well as dropping a few back at the base before beating up somebody who came in a little too early. We're not open yet. On day 60, it was time to judge the little impromptu Pokemon contest that I had set for all of my viewers. I told them to get the most appropriate Pokemon for themselves. And while people were getting mischievous ones or just running away after throwing me random items, I had to give the trophy to a person whose name was Bear, who captured a bear while wearing a bear skin that they could then ride on the bigger bear. That was just too perfect. While I was judging the contest, though, a moderator slipped a piece of mail into my pocket, reminding me of past mistakes, and I quickly disposed of all evidence of that ever happening. On an unrelated note, I am looking for new moderators, legundo.com/guardian. I returned back to the resort on day 61, using a lot of the wood that I had purchased from the hub to finish up both the walls for all of the cabanas, as well as a few extra details on the custom trees, switching from jungle to oak as we make our way into the desert, because the trees should look just a little bit different. Before flying far away from anybody on day 62, finding my way into a random Poke Center that had some items on the ground, as well as finding the world border off to the north. There was a water Pokemon stuck up a tree, which I captured so that they didn't have to worry about anything, and then got a balloon, which I was hoping would be a balloon, but it was kind of just an item in my hand. As it rolled into day 63, it was time for me to take on another gym. With everybody still hyping me up in chat, I figured we could do 2 in one day. I could definitely nail this. Spectarier was the MVP of this fight overall, being ghost type and high level, so the stats are really good. It had some great moves to be able to one-shot almost any psychic type in the entire gym. That is until we got to the boss, who is a lot tougher, as kind of is tradition. I got a good idea of what their team makeup was, and there's a lot of dual typing into things like water or ground or flying that I could exploit with a different team, but who I had with me at the time was not it. And I unfortunately lost this fight. However, as I returned out of the gym, I saw a bunch of chickens that had spawned in the hub being executed by the admins, and I needed to step in here. Nope, chicken, stay close. I must protect the chicken. I'm just gonna stand here, and I'm gonna ask the admin to please spare this one. Be spared. They work at the Poke Center. A critical job. Please. Please no. Please no. 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 Sure. Yay! They live! That chicken lives! We've done a good job! We've saved the job. Thank you. We've saved a chicken! You're gonna name it... Oh, we're gonna name it Timmy. Yay! Timmy. Timmy. Yay! Timmy's been named! Yes! The next day IRL, and also in Pokemon, on day Kill All the Jedi, I went back to the Psychic Gym. That feels like it's thematically correct, right? All of the cooldowns had reset, so I had to fight my way through all of the trainers, which was not a big deal at all. Making my way back to the boss, which was a big deal pretty much, as I needed to fight my way through all of their pretty strong team. I was smarter on the tight matchups here, relying more so on attacking and critting against those secondary types, but their team is just pretty powerful. This being a level 60 gym, the monsters I'm fighting are pretty strong overall. And while I'd like to say this is when I claimed a victory over all of these psychics, it unfortunately wasn't. I'm watching you, Mr. Teenage Skin Man. I'm coming back for revenge. I hit up all of the Pokestops to collect a lot more resources, and then did a little bit more mail shenanigans just to clear my frustrations after failing at the gym for a second time. This was the first time that I had yet to win a gym in 2 goes, so I spent some time just leveling up all of my Pokemon at the base, trying to get them ranked up so I could have better type matching. I had somebody random just teleport to me and give me a book saying, "Can you help me?" which was really confusing. It seems like they needed help from one of the moderators, which I'm not, so they drowned themselves. Dark. Before ranking up my new Ampharmos to make sure that they were ready for a fight. I randomly teleported around, finding somebody's unprotected base and leaving them a message so that they knew who to come say hello to, while continuing to power level up my Ampharmos, finding a patch of actual wild grass that spawned Pokemon. That was kind of cool. But with a new hard counter to the Staryu and the boss's party in my party, I was ready to take on the gym one more time. And on day haha funny number, I was back in, once again having to fight my way through all of the team because of cooldowns before going in for another fight. This time, I was able to get ahead, one up on the first Pokemon, and then one-shotting the second pretty quickly. I was able to take out 3 with Zacian, leading up with my strongest Pokemon, before using Ho-Oh to take out Exeggutor. And despite training up an Ampharmos, I didn't even need them, with Spectaria bringing up the rear and eliminating their last Pokemon, claiming me victory and my 5th badge. I was feeling unstoppable. And just as I was making my way through the campaign of Anubis, the story would change. You see, they had been planning a big upgrade to their server, completely redoing a lot of the campaign, the gyms, the storyline, and the different mechanics and things available. And this, in some ways, reset me to 0, but in others was better than ever. With a new spawn, new ways to gain loot, and new Pokemon running around, this, despite being 3/4 of the way through the video, was a bit of a fresh start. So I spent most of day 70 just running around the new spawn, orienting myself to everything that was now available, and checking out the new shops, stores, and prices for everything. There's now presents that you can run around and hunt, and the loot goblin in me will definitely want that, as well as quests, which you can tackle. I gathered a few of them so that randomly just capturing Pokemon or fighting them around would earn me a lot of extra rewards. I found my ship that I had taken when I got stranded on the ocean, somehow recovered over here, before warping back home, and since food is now important, starting on a small rudimentary food supply to be able to get something so I can run around as much as I want. I had a little bit of bread in my back pocket already, it was probably stale from sitting there for so long, before grabbing a few items from the shops and starting to set up a little bit of a wheat farm over in the corner of the desert. Using whatever bone meal I had to get a little bit more seeds, I started placing some logs to set up a little bit of a canopy over this space, while also leveling up my Pokemon a little bit more because since there were new gyms, I needed my entire team to be upgraded. A few days into this, I decided to take on my first challenge, going to the Rock Gym, which was the first one listed on the new UI. New gym challenges only let you use 3 Pokemon instead of your original team of 6 and no legendaries. but it levels up your Pokemon to level 100 to make for a very different kind of fight. So with only 3 enemies to worry about and 3 of my own Pokemon, but not being able to use half of them, I had to come up with a very different strategy. I took Typhlosion, Blastoise, and Garachomp trying to take on the gym, but these new leaders are no joke with some really strong Pokemon and good type matchups in their advantage. I tried hitting the Bug Gym as well since everything's level 100, but again, even with some good types, I was underprepared. I'd been relying too much on my legendaries. I gave the Bug Gym another go a little bit later in the day, and while I was able to take out 2 of their Pokemon, the third was able to just quickly clean up because I had lost too much trading throughout the fight. I'm going to need to reapproach how I approach gyms overall, as they're a lot more difficult now and I need to power up to really take them on. On day 74, I did a little bit more exploring around the hub, just kind of finding out new things about the space, and I found a throne that they had prepared for me. Clearly they intended to crown me king, I'd missed the message or something, before randomly teleporting out to a mesa biome, grabbing a bunch of terracotta, which I can use to make the island look just a little bit better. I kept leveling up my Blastoise against everything that I had found here, which was all weak to its water type attacks, while finding another abandoned mineshaft, because it is a video for me after all, and another world border. I had now visited 3 edges of the world and was kind of tempted to go for all 4 just as a personal achievement of saying that I had explored almost everything. I warped back home and continued planting seeds when a Suicune just spawned in my cabana, which was amazing. I had a bunch of Master Balls available where I just threw on right away and captured it. Shortly after that, I was told click on the blue button, and I did it, and I got a key. Day 76, I was finishing up the roof of that little farm area now, and just jumped down into the ravine, searching for a few more resources and some experience so I can continue to level up. Fenced off the area and then warped over to the crates location so I could use that key that I had gotten from the clicking the blue button, and received a God pickaxe, which has Fortune 5 on it, as well as a few other things, so this is gonna be nice. I spent the first half of day 77 I spent the first half of day 77 organizing all of my gear before going underground in the dirt and making a hill that would really trigger a few members of my community. Using all of that dirt to expand out the farm and continuing to just power level all of my Pokemon to get ready for the new requirements of battling. On day 77, I spent the time building out a melon farm as well so I could diversify what food I'm going to be eating, and then just kept battling. It felt like I was kind of starting over despite having a really solid team, so I really needed a power level to get competitive. On day 78, I was out shopping when I found it. The casino. My gambling heart would be soothed. I started gambling, but then something must have gone wrong because it said that I lost, which is impossible with my luck. So I went and talked to another NPC who sent me to go visit jail. I'm guessing this is where they'll keep Dream if he ever happens to connect to their server. I went back home and harvested all of my acorns and just did a few other tasks around the base when on day 79, a level 140 Zubat just appeared outside of my base. It's another one of those boss monsters. This time, however, I had some good types for it and some level 100s to be able to take them on as well. I was actually able to defeat this boss, getting some pretty decent loot out of it that I was able to pocket. After this celebration, I ran out and continued power leveling my Pokemon, finding another Pokemon center in a village with a lot of wheat and supplies, as well as a chest with a bunch of just a little bit of everything that I could use. On day 80, I realized just how powerful Fortune 5 was, getting half a stack of silicone out of just 2 pieces of ore, and somehow looping my way back to the jungle temple that I had visited all the way back in like day 3 or 4. I went back to the village that I had seen earlier that same day, looting up all of the potatoes so I could take them back over to my farmland and get them all set up with different crops so I could have different things to eat. Day 81, I randomly teleported out to another cave, and God, this pickaxe is amazing. Being able to get so many resources from just a single thing. I had 4 blocks of lapis, and look how much dropped from all of this. It's ridiculous. I worked back home, banked all of the resources, baked some bread, and then continued power leveling my Mons, finding an unlooted Pokemon Center and reclaiming all of the supplies left inside. Day 82 started with harvesting all of my apricorns as well as all of my crops and everything that I could find, replanting so I'd have more. As I was about to head somewhere, a Mega Blastoise spawned in my base, and you know what? It's level 150 with high tier attacks, and clearly and obviously I totally defeated it without even breaking a sweat. From that completely honest victory, I grabbed my team and headed over towards the grass gym using Typhlosion to try to flame charge my way through most of it. Unfortunately, they had some type advantages against a few of my Pokemon, and they had Mega Evolutions for their last one. This is going to be even harder than I thought. So instead, I spent some time just bouncing around the gym and looking in all the corners, finding their presents and stealing them like a reverse Santa Claus. I'm the main character. This isn't supposed to happen to me, so I jumped on my God Bird and flew over the land on day 83. Chat told me to find and murder a quillfish for a key, so I literally spent all day going from river to river trying to find a quillfish and kill it. Unfortunately, I didn't find one. On day 84, I went through a portal that sent me to a bunch of passive mob spawners that I could bully Technoblade as much as I wanted, which, heck yeah, I'm in for this. As well as just saying hi to a few llamas and having them just give me leather spontaneously. I went down into a nether area and got a wither skull off of the very first wither that I killed. Legundo luck is still here with me. I smelted up all of the food that I had collected, grabbing some smelted terracotta that I had forgotten in all of these furnaces, before finding a fisherman standing on a lily pad and stuck underneath a tree. They're not going anywhere. On day 85, though, I found out about the Battle Tower. It's a series of challenges where if you defeat each trainer, you get warped up to the next level to take on stronger and stronger opponents. There's at least 10 enemies in each tower, and every 5 is when you get to actually modify your team. And I think I have a new end game goal. Since I don't think I'm going to have a team that's strong enough to defeat all of the gyms, why don't I take on this and see if I can complete at least the easy tower as my final challenge. As I warped into the first NPC, this was actually starting to be a little bit promising. With some good type advantages and some smart moves, I was able to defeat them going up to NPC number 2 and just starting my fight right over. This works out really well for me. And since everything's level 100, it's an even playing field. Unfortunately, I had some Pokemon in my party that were more set up for the grass type gym than having a more well-rounded team. So I struck out on the Battle Tower for today, but I got 4 rare candies from it pretty quick. So this is a good way to get some decent loot pretty quickly as well. On day 87, I stole all of the presents from the fire type gym and burned myself on some of their decorations. That's really not super safe, before trying to take on the leader. I was able to one-shot their first Pokemon with Blastoise, but unfortunately they had a Mega Charizard with Solar Beam who was able to one-shot everything on my team. Now that's strong against everything that's strong against fire, so that's going to be a really hard battle. So you know what? Instead of battling, I'm going to spend a couple days just stealing presents. So on day 88, I warped over to the Safari Zone and started running around grabbing as many presents as I could around this custom built area. There's all sorts of different high-level Pokemon who spawn here. I didn't even bother battling any of them. I was just having so much fun running from place to place and finding and stealing presents. I found this door that opened at one point, but it had lava through it. I wasn't sure exactly how I was supposed to get through this, but I have an idea on something that I could try later. But yeah, I spent over an hour IRL, which is about 3 Minecraft days, just running around this little dome, stealing all of the presents I could get my little goblin hands on. On day 91, I headed back to my base, harvested all of the crops, and used all of the rare candies I had on Blastoise, trying to get them a little bit stronger to be able to survive in the fire gym. I flew on Ho-Oh over towards that hotel that I had gotten the banners from to collect the last few that were still hanging, and then headed north to find the final world border, encountering a full town that had a lot of stuff that they were willing to donate to the resort. It was really kind of them to just have all this stuff here waiting for me. On day 92, I started installing all of the new additions to the resort, including a vending machine and a carpet, and when flying back towards the northern border, found what was totally not an evil looking base with a ton of acorns on top. I finally made my way to the final world border, having fully explored every corner of this world. That felt like a good personal accomplishment to see everything the server had to offer. Warped back home and planted the last few banners and did some extra little enhancements around the base and the cabanas to get them ready for guests. Day 93, it was time to take on the Battle Tower again, and I had switched up my team to be a little bit better prepared with tight matches and having a more well-rounded team for all of this fight. Zacian and Ho-Oh were the definite frontrunners of battle number 1, but when I grabbed Blastoise and tried to use Skull bash, it pulled its head inside of the shell, and then it must have gotten stuck from its big brain move, and it kind of got confused and it didn't attack anything for the rest of the battle. And unfortunately, this one glitched out. And I thought, since I had burned all of my bad luck on that kind of maneuver, why don't I go over and just spend all of my money gambling? Yeah, I'm gonna spend literally all of my money in an entire Minecraft day gambling. Okay, that was 3 losses in a row. Maybe I shouldn't spend all of my day gambling. So I warped back to the base and planted a few beds in all of the cabanas to make sure that people could actually set their spawn here and they can actually live here once the warp is up and this place is good to go. Day 95, we're approaching the end game of this entire playthrough. So I harvested all of my acorns and then smelted up all of the ores that I hadn't been using to this point. I'm still doing any Pokemon battle that I find anywhere in or around this space, but I want to get this map set up in a place where everybody can see it. I saw a nice empty patch on the desert and thought, you know what? I should really leave my mark on this world before completing this 100 days. I got another key from a chat event, warped over, and got 200 tokens for the casino just out of thin air. Oh, I'm gonna gamble again. Before heading over to the casino on day 96, I started building my logo out in the desert. It looks kind of wonky standing on it, and I had to fly over to the hotel to acquire a lot of blue concrete to finish it. But once you look at it on a map, this is gonna be amazing. I had a lot of cursed sand that I needed to fix underneath it using dirt to just bolster everything up so the ground wouldn't be swallowing people up. And on day 97, I had to go over and sell all of the gold and other ores that I had smelted and take all of the money and all of the tokens over to the casino. And I started winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And then we won't talk about what happened after that, unfortunately, because somehow it just, I don't know, I lost all the footage. Just nothing's there. I don't want to, no. But on day 98, it's time for the battle, my final challenge. I had set aside a full hour with the hope of completing this battle tower before day 100 rolls around. My team is fully prepared, maxed level, and can cover as many type advantages as possible as I worked my way in and started the battle. Battle 1 went pretty well. I think I have this one pretty much pegged and know where to go. Ditto for Battle 2, the one with the Ditto. The best part is, if I can get it to copy Ho-Oh, Ho-Oh's ancient power just completely eliminates it. And Ho-Oh being able to avoid ground moves altogether put me at a huge advantage against their ground types. For NPC 3, I mainly used Zacian and Typhlosion as they were very grass and bug type heavy, and I was able to tackle most of them out in one hit. Number 4, this was the first time I had actually encountered with them, but they seemed a lot more ice type heavy, so I was able to use kind of the same 2 Pokemon to be able to just crush everything down pretty quickly. As it rolled over to day 99, I reached the 5th NPC, the first time that you can actually rotate out your party, but I didn't know who I had in front of me. But I said to myself, if I beat this, I'm gonna count it as a victory. This is my first checkpoint in the whole competition. I started with the Chimecho, who was easy enough to kill with Zacian, and then an Arbok killed Zacian, Ho-Oh kills Arbok, Persian kills Ho-Oh, Garachomp kills Persian, Noctowl kills Garachomp. It was this huge back and forth trading battle before Suicune was able to just take out 2 very quickly with Ice Fang. And with that, Suicune, the Pokemon who just spawned in my resort like it was destined and meant to be, led me to win this battle, and I had a key in my hand and victory in my heart. I didn't even bother on battle number 6, warping out to where the keys were and going up to the skill crate, getting $25,000 just sitting in my account, which felt like, you know, the goblin in me was very happy with that. As I teleported back to the base and updated the map with the logo on it, it was time for one final addition. I'd spent weeks on this server playing on it, going through this adventure and meeting a whole bunch of people and having fun with the people that I knew along the way. And what better way to commemorate that by commemorating all 100 days of my challenge right here in the sand for everyone to see. As I finished out the last little bit of the construction, updated the maps so it looked wonderful just sitting there, I ran over the bridge back towards my own personal space, jumped in the bed, and went to bed at the end of this story. And that, my friends, is how I spent 100 days building the perfect Pokemon Oasis in Pixelmon. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. It's more of a return to form of traditional 100 days videos here on the channel. If you haven't seen, I've survived 1,000 days in my main hardcore world, and I have other projects coming soon, including new 100 days videos. I've got so much to show you. I'm also live on Twitch right now and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the link down in the description. Make sure to download the AnubisMC mod pack and check out their server. Link to a video on how to play is down in the description as well. I hope to see you over here, and make sure to use Warp Legundo to come visit this. Again, thanks to AnubisMC for sponsoring this video. Alright, that's it for me. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll talk to you next time.